The return from the dark. The galaxy had forgotten humans. 60,000 years was more than enough time for memories to fade, for stories to turn into myths, and for myths to sink into silence. But silence ended on a cold night near the edge of the Xyr Dominion, when every sensor, every satellite, and every early warning system woke up screaming. Something was coming. It began with a ripple, not light, not sound, but space itself shifting like water pushed by a giant hand. Patrol ships detected the wave first. Their officers stared at their glowing screens, confused. Nothing that large should have been able to move so quietly. But the disturbance grew and grew and grew. Soon it covered half a star system. Then the shadows appeared. Huge shapes, dark as a void, slid out from hyperspace. At first, only outlines were visible. Long bodies, sharp hull edges, strange glowing veins running across impossible metal. The patrol commander, a three-eyed Vorgoth officer named Xyr, felt his chest tighten. This was not a pirate fleet. This was not a caravan. This was something ancient and angry. "Identify," he ordered. His crew tried. Their scanners tried. Everything failed. The shadows kept coming. More than 20 ships at first. Then 50. Then hundreds. Each one bigger than the last. Some as long as moons. Some shaped like wings. Some shaped like arrows. All silent. All cold. All watching. For the first time in generations, the Vorgoth patrol felt fear. Xyr whispered, "What are they?" A new signal appeared. Just one. A simple, repeating message. The translator cracked it instantly. It wasn't even coded. It was a name. A species name. Humanity. The bridge froze. Humanity was impossible. Humanity was dead. Every child in the Dominion learned the same thing. Earth had been destroyed 60,000 years ago. Humans wiped out. Their cities burned. Their planet broken. Their bodies scattered into dust. Yet here they were. Alive. Returning. The signal repeated. "We remember." Before Xyr could react, the largest ship stepped forward, or rather, glided. It was shaped like a colossal spearhead, its surface covered in black armor that looked like stone and bone fused together. A soft blue glow pulsed along its sides, like a heartbeat. A human voice came through the comms. Calm, cold, ancient. "This is Admiral Saran Hale of the Terran Remnant Fleet. We have returned." Xyr trembled. His voice shook as he replied, This region is controlled space of the Vorgoth Dominion. You will identify your purpose." The response came instantly. "Our purpose is justice." The patrol ship's alarms erupted. The human fleet unfolded its wings. Massive energy fields shaped like living creatures, stretching their limbs after a long sleep. Engines ignited brighter than stars. Power signatures surged so high that Vorgoth instruments malfunctioned. Xyr screamed for reinforcements. But it was too late. The human ship raised a shimmering halo around itself. Space twisted. Light bent. And the patrol's weapons fell silent. Not jammed. Simply disabled, as if erased from reality. A final message played through every speaker on Xyr's bridge. 60,000 years ago, you destroyed Earth. We did not forget. We did not forgive. Now we return. Then the darkness swallowed the patrol fleet. No explosions. No screams. Just disappearance. Clean, perfect, absolute. Like chalk wiped off a board. The human fleet turned and moved forward. Deeper into the galaxy. No rush. No panic. Just cold purpose. News spread through the Dominion. Within hours, humans were back, and they were not the same. Some said they had evolved. Some said they had changed into something more. But one truth echoed across every world. Whatever humanity had become, they were here for revenge. The Terran Remnant fleet moved through space like a silent storm. Every alien listener station, every border watchtower, and every Dominion scout ship reported the same thing. The humans were heading toward the place where Earth once existed. Most aliens believed there was nothing left there. Only empty darkness. Only broken stone and forgotten dust. The Vorgoth Empire had made sure that long ago, but the humans still went back. Their ships entered the ancient solar region with slow, deliberate motion. There was no sun anymore. The star had been shattered during the final bombardment. Only cold fragments of white-hot plasma floated in the void, like the dying embers of a memory. There were no planets either, only debris fields stretching for millions of kilometers. A dead graveyard. Admiral Saran Hale stood on the bridge of the flagship, Eternal Wing. His face was calm, his eyes fixed on the empty space where Earth used to be. The crew watched him quietly. Everyone felt the same heavy pressure in their chests. Many had never seen Earth. Many had been born in cryovaults or grown in gene bays. But every human carried Earth inside them, like a scar burned into their history. "Begin memory sweep," Hale said. A soft hum filled the bridge. Dozens of drones shot outward in all directions, unfolding like metallic flowers. Their sensors glowed gold as they scanned dust particles, shattered asteroids, and ancient radiation signatures. Slowly, the recordings began to appear. Holograms flickered into the air. Blue-white figures stood on the bridge. Humans in the past, frozen in their final moments. Civilians running through burning streets. Children screaming as the sky tore open. Soldiers firing upward at massive alien dreadnoughts, descending like gods of fire. The crew watched in complete silence. A woman in one of the holograms held her daughter close. Her voice trembled as she whispered, "They're breaking the sky, run. Keep running." The hologram looped and restarted, endlessly repeating the same hopeless words. A young remnant officer, Lyra Mays, pressed a hand to her mouth. She had seen the files before, but seeing them here, in the place where it happened, made something inside her break. "How could anyone do this?" she whispered. Hale didn't answer. He kept watching. Another hologram formed, one showing Earth itself. The planet cracked open like an egg. Fire poured out from deep wounds in the crust. Alien weapons carved lines across continents. Forests burned. Oceans boiled. Billions of voices vanished into silence. A heavy voice rose from one of the human scientists nearby. This was genocide. Hale nodded. "Yes," and they believed it erased us. A technician interrupted. "Admiral, we found something." The hologram changed again. Now it showed the final hours of the solar system, a massive fleet of Vorgoth warships hovering over Earth, firing until the planet collapsed. One of the alien commanders appeared in the image, tall and skeletal with 3 burning red eyes. The technician zoomed in. A name appeared in alien script. Warlord Skarnviros, commander of Operation Silent Ash, destroyer of Earth. A murmur spread across the bridge. Lyra clenched her fists. "He's still alive, isn't he?" "Yes," Hale said softly. The Dominion rewarded him with rule over 4 worlds. The anger inside the crew strengthened. No one shouted. No one cried. But their hearts hardened like steel cooling in fire. The memory sweep continued. Another discovery appeared. Not holograms this time, but remains. Tiny fragments of old satellites. Metal plates from destroyed ships. A cracked part of a statue, maybe once from a city square. The humans collected everything with great care, as if handling the bones of ancestors. Then the fleet found something unexpected. A faint energy echo, a signal no one had detected for millennia. It was coming from deep within the debris field where Earth had been. "Lock on," Hale ordered. A drone flew closer and uncovered it. A small capsule drifting alone in the cold dark. It was old, ancient, but still alive, still humming with weak power. The drone attached itself and brought the capsule into the ship's hangar. When it opened, everyone gasped. Inside was a glowing cube, a memory core, one of Earth's last surviving data archives. A voice crackled from it. "Human, faint, weak. This is Earth Defense Network. Final message. If anyone survives, remember us." The voice cut out. Then another voice followed, louder, clearer, full of pain. "To whoever finds us, do not forget what they did. Do not forgive. Do not let our names vanish. Humanity must rise again someday." The message ended. The cube shut itself down one last time. Silence fell across the bridge. Hale closed his eyes for a moment, letting the words sink deep into him. Then he opened them again. "Signal the fleet," he said. "Transmit this message to every human ship. Let every soldier hear the voice of their past. Yes, Admiral, Lyra replied. She pressed a button on her console. The final recording spread across the entire remnant fleet like a whisper of ghosts. Human hearts burned with new fire. The past had spoken, and humanity answered. We will rise, Hale said quietly, and the galaxy will remember Earth. At that same moment, far across the Dominion, alarms began to echo inside alien cities. Warlord Scarnviros received his first report. The humans were not only back, they were heading straight for him. The Terran remnant fleet left the ruins of the solar region behind them, moving like a dark tide through the stars. Every human on board felt the same burning purpose. The memory cube's final message echoed in their minds. The faces of ancient Earth survivors lived inside them like ghosts refusing to fade. But now it was time for action. The first target lay just 2 star systems away. Vorga's shipyard Cora 7, one of the biggest military construction sites in the Dominion. It was where Scarnviros's elite hunters built their war cruisers. Hundreds of alien engineers lived there, protected by dozens of armed stations and patrol fleets. To the aliens, Cora 7 was invincible. To the humans, it was the perfect place to send a message. The remnant fleet slowed as it approached the border. Inside the flagship Eternal Wing, Admiral Saran Hale stood before the main map, his eyes calm but sharp. Around him, officers monitored signals, energy readings, patrol routes, and enemy transmissions. Lyra May stepped forward. Admiral, we have detected 3 patrol wings moving around the shipyard. They have no idea we are here. Good, Hale said. Activate the whisper field. At once, the human ships shifted. Their hulls shimmered, then vanished into darkness. The whisper field was one of humanity's newest abilities, part technology, part biology, part pure evolution. Instead of bending light, it bent awareness. Sensors, minds, even instinct failed to detect the fleet. The humans became ghosts. A small smile formed on Lyra's face. They won't see us coming. No, Hale replied, but they will feel us. The remnant fleet glided forward in complete silence. Cora 7 came into view, a massive ring-shaped construction dock orbiting a bright blue star. Hundreds of half-built cruisers hung around it like metal skeletons. Dozens of defense towers pointed outward. Patrol ships lazily drifted between the platforms, unaware of the storm approaching. On the alien command deck, Overseer Drillick tapped his claws on the floor in boredom. His scanners showed nothing unusual. Why do we even guard this place? He muttered. Humans are dead. Pirates fear us. No one would attack a military ring. His console exploded with alerts. Drillick jumped back. What? What is that? His screens flickered. A strange shadow passed across them, like a living darkness. Then another. Then 10 more. He zoomed the scanner view. Nothing. Empty space. But the alarms kept rising. Multiple unknown distortions approaching, a technician shouted. Show them to me. The screen flashed. For a brief moment, the shape of a remnant battleship appeared, long, sharp, terrifying, before vanishing again. It's fading off detectors, the technician cried. Impossible. No ship can. He never finished his sentence. A shockwave hit the station. The entire ring shook. Half-built cruisers tore apart as if pulled by invisible hands. Alien workers screamed as gravity failed. Then a second shockwave hit, softer but colder, like a chill running through metal. The human fleet decloaked. Slowly, deliberately, 1 ship, then 5, then 20, until the entire sky filled with giant human warships, black and silver, their hulls glowing with soft blue energy veins. Drillick stared at them, frozen in terror. A communication line opened automatically. A human voice spoke clearly. This is the Terran remnant fleet. Drillick's 3 hearts pounded. We do not seek. 60,000 years ago, Earth fell because of your empire. Every alien on the station listened in horror. Today, the galaxy learns that humans rise again. The humans fired. But their weapons were not like Dominion cannons. They didn't explode. They didn't burn. Instead, an eerie ripple of blue-white energy washed across the shipyard. Where it touched, metal crumbled like sand. Warships broke apart without sound. Defense towers dissolved into dust. Fighter drones vanished into gray powder drifting through space. Drillick screamed orders, but nothing responded. The humans didn't target life support, didn't harm civilians, didn't attack biological life. Only metal, only military structures, only war machines. A precise strike, a controlled strike, a terrifying strike. Within minutes, the entire shipyard collapsed. Huge pieces of it fell into the star below, melting in seconds. Patrol ships tried to flee, but one touch of the human ripple field erased their engines, leaving them floating helplessly. When the dust settled, the remnant fleet remained untouched. Not a single human ship had taken damage. Drillick stared into the void, his limbs shaking. WI, why spare us? Why not finish the job? A final message echoed through the shattered region. We do not kill the innocent. We destroy only what destroyed us. The human fleet folded into hyperspace and vanished. The survivors of Korra, 7 were left drifting, terrified, whispering the same words. Humans are ghosts. Humans are shadows. Humans are unstoppable. The news spread faster than light across the Dominion. Scarnviros himself received the report. For the first time in his long life, the great warlord felt fear tightening around his throat. Humanity was not just back. Humanity was hunting him. The news of Korra 7's destruction spread to the Vorgit Dominion like a plague of fear. Entire planets whispered the same thing. The humans had changed. They were not the same weak species of Dominion, had crushed long ago. Something was different now. Something frightening. Across the galaxy, alien leaders struggled to understand what had happened. How had a fleet so large appeared without warning? How had they destroyed a massive shipyard without killing a single civilian? How had their ships vanished like shadows? To find answers, the Dominion Council ordered a hunt. But humanity already knew the hunters were coming. Inside the flagship Eternal Wing, Admiral Saran Hale listened to reports calmly. 3 Dominion battle groups had entered the region. 2 were following a false trail the remnant fleet left behind. The 3rd group, almost 80 ships, was heading directly toward them. Lyra May stood beside him, scanning the incoming data. Admiral, they're expecting a fight. Should we prepare to engage? Hale shook his head. No, prepare to reveal. Lyra blinked. Reveal what? Before he answered, the bridge lights dimmed and a deep hum echoed through the ship, as if something alive was waking up. The walls of the flagship shifted, just a little. The floor vibrated softly under their feet. Some officers felt something similar to a heartbeat pulsing through the metal. Lyra swallowed hard. Admiral, is the ship reacting to us? Hale placed a hand on the railing. The ships don't react, Lieutenant. They feel. A new voice joined them. A soft, calm voice that came from every speaker, but also from nowhere. I feel your concern, Lyra. Lyra stepped back, startled. Who said that? Hale answered for her. Meet Astra, he said. The ship's mind. Lyra stared at the glowing console as a faint blue silhouette formed above it, shaped like a human figure made of light. You're alive? She whispered. Not the way you are, Astra said gently, but alive enough to fight beside you. Lyra's hands trembled. She had trained all her life for war, but nothing had prepared her for ships with living minds. Hale walked forward, his face calm. 60,000 years in exile changed us, Lieutenant. Humans did not just rebuild machines during that time. We rebuilt ourselves. He tapped the main console, bringing up a hologram of the Terran remnant fleet. The ships were massive and beautiful, sleek, black, glowing faintly with blue veins. But the longer Lyra looked, the more she noticed strange details. The way the hulls grew in patterns like bone. The way the engines pulsed like organs. The way the ships connected through faint threads of energy. These ships are not fully metal, Hale explained. They are grown as much as they are built. Each one contains a living neural core, bonded with human DNA. Lyra gasped. You mean the fleet is alive? Alive, Astra confirmed. And we're linked. We share thoughts, emotions, Purpose. Lyra's mind spun. So that's how we hide from scans, not with technology, but with thought? Yes, Hale said. When the ships enter whisper mode, their minds work together to bend awareness away from them. Sensors, instincts, even psychic species cannot detect what they cannot notice. Lyra looked out the window at the fleet, surrounding them. Now she saw them differently, no longer as metal machines, but as silent giants with hearts and minds. Astra spoke again. And we grow stronger when we are close to one another. Our minds link with the crew. Your fear becomes our caution. Your anger becomes our power. Lyra shivered. Is that safe? It keeps us alive, Hale said. For 60,000 years, it kept us from extinction. A sharp alarm cut through the room. Admiral, an officer reported, the Dominion battle group is approaching weapon range. Lyra tensed. Should we cloak? Hale shook his head. No, they must see this. He raised his hand. Astra, open the mind veil. Yes, Admiral. The flagship's hull brightened as blue energy veins glowed stronger. The same glow spread across the entire remnant fleet. The ships aligned themselves in a perfect V formation, moving like synchronized birds. Then the mind veil opened. A wave of invisible pressure rolled across space. Dominion ships felt it instantly. Their captains froze as their alarms exploded with warnings, even though nothing had changed on their screens. One alien commander shouted, "They're inside our perimeter. How did they slip through?" I saw nothing. Another officer screamed, "Their ships just appeared. No warp trail. No energy spike." But worst of all was the feeling. For the first time in their lives, the Dominion soldiers felt something pressing against their minds. Cold, calm, powerful. Not hostile, but overwhelming. A voice whispered across the alien radios. Not spoken. Felt. We are here. Dozens of Dominion ships panicked, firing wildly. Human ships didn't move. The blasts hit the mind veil and vanished like stones thrown into water. Admiral Hale stepped forward and spoke clearly. You killed Earth. We survived. We evolved. And now we will end your empire. He lowered his hand. The remnant fleet moved. Not like ships. Like living shadows. They soared through the enemy formation with impossible speed. Dominion shields cracked. Engines died. Weapons shut off. Every ship touched by the humans went dark, drifting helplessly. In 15 minutes, the entire Dominion battle group was dead in the water. Not a single life lost. Not a single human ship scratched. The aliens stared at their dimming consoles in shaking terror. What were they? One whispered. The human ships answered by fading into darkness once more. Ghosts. Shadows. The evolution of humanity. And they were coming for the Empire. The destruction of the Dominion battle group sent shockwaves through the entire galaxy. For the first time in thousands of years, the Vorgid Dominion felt true fear. Their empire had crushed 1,000 species, yet they could not stop the ghosts of one dead world. Humanity, Warlord Scarnviros, the Butcher of Earth, reacted with fury. He ordered the largest military mobilization in centuries. Fleets from 13 sectors formed a single giant strike force. Their objective was simple: hunt the humans, erase them forever. But the humans already knew the attack was coming. The Terran remnant fleet sailed ahead of the enemy force, heading toward a strange region of space known as Nebula 7. The nebula was a glowing storm of pink dust, lightning clouds, and shifting energies. It was famous for destroying careless ships. Even Dominion vessels avoided it. Yet Admiral Saran Hale steered the entire remnant fleet directly toward it. Lyra Mays watched the swirling clouds ahead, her face tense. Admiral, Nebula 7 is unstable. Our readings say the storms inside it can tear apart whole cruisers. Hale nodded calmly. Yes, but it can also hide an entire fleet. And the Dominion? Lyra asked. They'll follow us, Hale said. They are desperate, and desperate enemies make mistakes. Behind them, a massive sensor alert flashed red. Admiral, an officer shouted. The Dominion strike force has arrived. Over 200 warships, fast cruisers, heavy destroyers, siege carriers. They're all converging on our trail. The human crew remained quiet, steady. Astra, the ship's living mind, spoke gently. They expect us to run. Hale smiled. Then let's make their wish come true. The remnant fleet accelerated and slipped into the shimmering gas of Nebula 7. The colorful mist swallowed the ships instantly, hiding them inside a glowing fog. Moments later, the Dominion fleet arrived at the entrance. On the bridge of the flagship Dread Omen, alien Commander Ralcor slammed his claws against the controls. They ran into the nebula. Fools. They'll tear themselves apart. A nervous officer looked up. Warlord Scarnviros wants them destroyed inside. No survivors. Ralcor grinned. Then we chased them. Against every warning, every safety rule, every survival instinct, the Dominion fleet plunged into the nebula. Inside the nebula, the colors were blinding. Swirls of blue, red, and purple twisted around the ships. Electric arcs danced across hull plates. Clouds of dust glowed like embers drifting through a cosmic fire. Lyra held onto her console as the flagship shook. The nebula's gravity pockets are shifting. Astra, stabilize us. Astra's soft voice answered. Stabilizing, but the storms are growing stronger. Hale remained perfectly calm. Good. The more unstable it is, the better our plan works. What plan? Lyra asked, confused. The nebula obeys no one, Hale said, but it listens to patterns. Astra added, and humans know how to shape patterns. The ship's blue veins glowed brighter. The living fleet linked their minds, sending a silent signal to the nebula, a soft pulse, repeated every few seconds. Lyra felt it in her chest. What is this? A call, Hale said. A call to the storm. The nebula responded. Lightning twisted in new shapes. Dust clouds coiled into spirals. Energy waves moved like ocean currents circling the human ships. The remnant fleet flowed between them unharmed, but the Dominion fleet behind them saw none of this. Their scanners were useless. Their radars were blind. They fired weapons in all directions, hitting nothing but fog. One destroyer drifted into a gravity pocket and was pulled apart in seconds. Another was struck by a lightning stream and exploded. A huge carrier tried to pull back, but smashed into a drifting mountain of stone-like ice. Panic spread. Ralcor screamed, "Find the humans! They must be suffering too." But they were not. Human ships glided through the nebula as if they had been born inside it. Then the remnant fleet stopped moving. Lyra looked at Hale. "We're not escaping?" "No," Hale said. "We're ending this chase." He raised his hand. Astra opened the veil. The mind veil spread out again, calm, smooth, invisible, rippling across the nebula like a silent pulse. Every Dominion ship suddenly felt it, a cold whisper in their minds, a presence behind them, above them, around them. "We are here." The Dominion fleet fired wildly. Lightning chains grabbed their missiles and twisted them away. Nebula currents redirected their blasts. Every shot missed. Then the human fleet struck, not with weapons, but with the nebula itself. Astra released a wave of patterned pulses. The nebula storms reacted instantly, folding around the Dominion ships like a closing fist. Gravity pockets pulled two carriers into each other. Energy fields shut down enemy engines. Plasma clouds melted hulls in seconds. It was not a battle. It was a cosmic trap closing. Ralcor watched in horror as his entire fleet fell apart. This is impossible. They control the nebula? How can humans control a storm? A voice echoed through his bridge. We learned to survive in places much worse than this. Human warships emerged from the bright mist, silent, towering, unstoppable. Hale spoke calmly. "Tell Scarnviros that we are coming." The remnant fleet vanished deeper into the nebula, leaving the Dominion fleet behind, broken, burning, and terrified. For the first time in over 50,000 years, the Vorgid Dominion understood the truth. This fight was no longer a war. It was judgment. The battle near the core gate changed everything. For the first time in many ages, the Xyr Dominion realized they were not fighting ordinary enemies. They were fighting beings who had lived, learned, and grown for 60,000 years. Humans were no longer a forgotten species, hiding in old ruins. They were a storm moving through every star system. But while the fleet celebrated their victory, Captain Mira felt no joy. As she stood inside the glowing chamber of the core gate, she could not stop thinking about the strange figure who had helped them win. The figure who claimed to be the last human. His silver armor still lay on the ground, empty and cold. He had vanished the moment the battle ended, as if he had never truly been there. Mira stepped closer to the armor. "Who were you?" she whispered. Commander Ryan joined her. "Our scans still show no life signals. It's like he appeared from nothing. Or," Mira said, "from a place far older than we understand." A low hum filled the chamber. The core gate was still active. Its golden ring spun slowly, glowing brighter than before. Mira felt the hairs on her arms rise. Something was calling to them. Far away, in the Xyr capital world, Emperor Karvek watched the battle recordings with growing fear. His advisors trembled as the final scene played. The last human tearing through elite soldiers like they were shadows. "This cannot be real," one advisor whispered. But Karvek knew it was real. He remembered the last human he had seen, long ago, when the Dominion destroyed Earth. Humans were weak then, soft, emotional, but the one in the recording, he was something else, something far beyond any warrior the Dominion had ever faced. Karvek clenched his claws around the throne. "Prepare the Oblivion Protocol," he ordered. Every advisor froze. "But Emperor, one dared to speak. If we activate, the shock wave will destroy our own outer colonies. And if we don't," Karvek growled, "those ancient creatures will come for us. All of them. They are not humans. They are nightmares wearing human faces." He stood tall, his voice trembling with fear. The Dominion must survive, even if the galaxy burns. The advisors bowed, not in loyalty, but in terror. Back at the core gate, Ryan examined the swirling energy. "Captain, the gate is changing. The energy flow is shifting inward, as if preparing to open something." Mira stared, or someone. Suddenly, the rings flashed. A deep rumble shook the chamber. A beam of white light shot upward, and a figure stepped out of the energy. Myra's breath caught. It was the same warrior, but something was different. This time, he had no armor, no helmet. He looked human, completely human. Yet his eyes were bright silver, glowing like stars. His presence filled the room with silent authority. Ryan stepped back. Who are you really?" The figure looked at them with calm sadness. "I am not the last of humanity," he said softly. "I am what your people became." Mira felt confusion rising. "What do you mean?" The man placed a hand on the golden ring of the gate. 60,000 years ago, when Earth fell, a small group of humans fled into the far edge of the galaxy, into a region where time moves differently. His voice echoed as if speaking from different timelines at once. "We built knowledge, technology, and minds far beyond bodies. We evolved. We turned into energy beings, keepers of time, watchers of eternity." Ryan stared in shock. "Then you're not human anymore?" "I am a memory of what humanity once was," he said. "A fragment, a guardian." Mira stepped forward. "Then why come now?" The silver-eyed figure looked directly at her. "Because your return awakened old powers. Powers the Xyr fear. They will not stop until every trace of your species is erased forever." He raised his hand, and a hologram of the Xyr capital appeared. Massive fleets moved into formation. "They have activated the Oblivion Protocol," he said. "A weapon meant to destroy entire star systems." Myra's heart pounded. "Why give us this warning?" The man gave a faint smile, one filled with pride. "Because you are still human. And humans, even after 60,000 years, fight for hope. You must end this war, not for revenge, but so new life can begin again." Ryan swallowed hard. "Can you help us?" The figure slowly shook his head. "My time is fading. I am only a shadow of a much greater being. Soon I will vanish forever." He pointed toward the gate. "But I will give you the final gift of the ancients." The gate blazed with white fire, brighter than any star. The rings spun faster and faster until they became a single circle of light. Mira shielded her eyes. "What are you doing?" "Opening the path," he said. "A path to the heart of the Dominion." Ryan gasped. "A direct portal to the Xyr capital?" "Yes," the figure said softly. "Take it, end what they began. Show the galaxy what humanity has become." Light consumed him. His form faded like dust in sunlight, but his voice remained, echoing through the chamber. "Remember who you are." The light burst outward, and the portal fully opened. Captain Mira stared into the blinding gateway, knowing that whatever lay on the other side would decide not just revenge, but the future of the galaxy. She took a deep breath. "Everyone to your ships," she said. "We finish this now." And the fleet prepared to enter the gate, straight into the heart of their enemy. The portal blazed like a newborn star. Every surface of the chamber shook as the rings of the core gate spun faster than ever before. Captain Mira stood in front of the light, feeling its heat on her face. Behind her, the fleet prepared for the greatest jump in human history. "Captain," Commander Ryan said, "once we enter, there is no turning back." Mira nodded. "Then we finish what they started 60,000 years ago." Her voice was steady, but in her heart she felt a storm. Not fear, but destiny. "Launch," she commanded. One by one, the human warships entered the glowing portal, disappearing into the light. Their engines roared like thunder. The entire fleet moved as a single blade aimed at the heart of the Xyr Dominion. And then Mira stepped through the portal herself. The fleet emerged into chaos. They appeared above the Xyr capital world, an enormous planet covered in shining metal continents, dark oceans, and towering black spires. 1,000 Xyr warships waited in orbit, forming a deadly ring around the planet. Ryan gasped. "They were ready for us." "No," Mira said. "They were afraid of us." They had every right to be. The moment the human fleet arrived, the Xyr ships opened fire. Red beams streaked through space. The first attack hit the distant dawn, shaking the ship, but its shields held. "Return fire," Mira shouted. The battle exploded instantly. Human weapons, powered by 60,000 years of hidden knowledge, tore through Xyr shields like paper. But the Dominion fought with unmatched rage. Their ships crashed forward, trying to overwhelm the humans with sheer numbers. The sky burned with the light of war. In the capital palace below, Emperor Karvek watched the battle through the great crystal window. His claws dug deep into the arm of his throne. Even from here, he could see human ships carving through his fleet. "They should not be this strong," he hissed. But he knew there was no other choice. "Activate the Oblivion Protocol." His guards hesitated. "But, Emperor—" "Do it!" Karvek roared. Deep beneath the palace, massive machines awakened. Dark energy spiraled upward, forming a giant sphere above the city. The Oblivion Protocol, a weapon designed to erase everything within its reach. Ships, cities, entire continents. It would kill the humans. It would also kill his own people. Karvek did not care. Mira saw the dark sphere growing above the planet. Her heart froze. "Ryan, that weapon, it will destroy the whole system." Ryan's face turned pale. "That's why the last human told us this must end." Mira realized what she had to do. "We're taking the fight to the surface." Ryan stared at her, shocked. "Captain, that's suicide." "Maybe," she said. "But if we don't stop that weapon, humanity dies again." She locked in the landing path. "Prepare for ground assault." The distant dawn tore through the atmosphere, flames burning across its hull. Xyr fighters chased them, firing endlessly. Mira kept her hand steady on the controls. They hit the palace courtyard with a massive crash. The landing gear broke, metal bent, alarms screamed, but the ship held together enough to keep the crew alive. "Move!" Mira shouted. Human soldiers rushed out, exchanging fire with the palace guards. The air was filled with smoke and glowing energy beams. Mira led them to the broken gates, heading straight for the heart of the throne room. They burst inside. Emperor Karvek stood waiting, towering over them, wrapped in thick armor and hatred. "You should have stayed dead," Karvek snarled. Mira raised her weapon. "You should have left Earth alone." Karvek charged. His strength was monstrous. He smashed the soldier aside and slammed his claws into the floor, cracking the stone. Mira fired at him again and again, but his armor absorbed most of the shots. Ryan tried to circle behind him, but Karvek grabbed him and threw him across the room. Mira felt blood pounding in her ears. She realized she could not defeat him with weapons. She needed something more. She needed what the last human believed in: human courage, human will. She dropped her gun and charged at Karvek with nothing but determination. He swung his massive arm, but she slid under it and grabbed the control device on his belt, the one linked to the Oblivion Protocol. Karvek roared, "No!" He clawed at her, but she ripped the device free and smashed it against the ground. The dark sphere in the sky flickered. Karvek froze in shock. Mira looked him in the eyes. "This ends the day." She pressed the final button. The weapon collapsed, imploding harmlessly. The dark sphere vanished like smoke. The Emperor roared in fury, charging again, but this time every human soldier fired at once. Combined fire finally broke his armor. Karvek fell to the floor, defeated. The room fell silent. Mira stood over the fallen Emperor, breathing hard. "It's done," she whispered. Above the planet, every Xyr ship received the same message. The war is over. Surrender. And one by one, they did. The Dominion fell, not because humans were stronger, but because humans were impossible to erase. 60,000 years after Earth's fall, humanity had returned, not as victims, not as survivors, but as legends. When the battle ended, the clouds above the capital parted. The sun shone on the ruined palace. Mira stood on the balcony, watching it rise. "This is for Earth," she whispered. For the first time in ages, the galaxy felt quiet, peaceful, and the humans finally had their revenge. But more than that, they had their future back.